Hi, my name is Alan Court and I am the owner of the Kiddywinkles childcare group in New Zealand. And today we have one of New Zealand's best known children's TV personalities who has beamed into thousands, hundreds of thousands of rooms throughout New Zealand over the last 20 to 30 years. Her infectious smile and bubbly personality resonates with so many people. A very warm welcome to the fabulous Suzy Cato. Welcome,
wow,
Suzy.
what an intro. Oh, wow, what an
deserve,
intro. Thank you so much.
you deserve something like that. Now, I know that you've been suffering from the winter chills, as so many people have been at the moment, but a Kiddywinkles podcast wouldn't quite be the same without perhaps your famous song, It's Our Time. Are you able to do that? Is your voice capable of doing that?
Oh, let's find out. Let's find out. It's our time, kia ora, talofa. It's our time, a special time of day. It's our time, just you and me together. It's time to say hello, g'day, ke te pea koe. I had a slight wardrobe malfailure, the earbud falling out.
Well, that's fantastic. If you can sing like that, even with a cold, it's fantastic. Now, did you come up with that song? Is it your one?
Oh, no. So I joined the preschool program You and Me after it had been going for about a year. So there was an original television host for You and Me, Pauline Cooper, who had been a presenter on Play School prior to being a part of You and Me. And when Pauline got to the stage where she's like, actually, it's time for me to do something new, they auditioned about 70 to 80 people for the opportunity. And I was flown down from Auckland to Dunedin to audition. And I just started taking singing lessons, literally had only had like 2 or 3 singing lessons. I'd always loved singing, but I could never say that I was a singer per se. Luckily, babies and toddlers and preschoolers aren't adverse to an adult's voice. It's when they become
pretty
teens
forgiving
that they
as well.
Yeah, they certainly are. In fact, I'd much rather hear you sing than you not sing. So I auditioned, and out of those 70 people, got the opportunity to sing that song every day for 5 years, pretty much. So
It's
very special.
certainly a very, very catchy tune, and it used to play out through our household with our children as they were growing up. So I think that's really that's what you're known for. It's one of your trademarks.
Yeah, well, that because the episode or the program Suzy's World, the song wasn't as catchy. Suzy's World, Suzy's World. Yeah, the science was really good. The song not so catchy.
Yeah, no, I like the other one. The other thing that really sort of impressed me was, and it might have been just through getting into the television that you were doing, is the use of te reo way back in the 90s, because that's something that we're really trying to encourage with childcare centres throughout New Zealand. And teachers are starting to learn it, but the use of te reo was actually, it even had a little bit of Samoan in there as well. Was that just part of the television program, or was that something that you brought in a little bit more of?
Well, look, I was quite fortunate in that I grew up in Kaikoui. So I had my first 5 years in Hamilton and then moved to Kaikoui as a 5-year-old. And unlike the schools in Hamilton, we had a lot more of an immersion in te reo at that time. So not so much in the classroom. I remember the etu and e noho and haere mai and whakarongo. Titiro mai is another one, but we had a strong kapa haka group, and every classroom was involved in a lot of the singing and the culture and the stick games and all those sorts of things. So I had an immersion in te reo as a young person. But again, it was the program that was already in place, and the executive producer, Rex Simpson, mastermind. He was involved in the creation of such amazing content in New Zealand, including Nice One Stew, and he was involved in What Now and Spot On and all kinds of fabulous programs. But his vision for You and Me was to create a program that was completely inclusive and that represented New Zealanders. and the uniqueness of being a Kiwi. And he had spent time as a young person with his family, who were both teachers. His parents were both teachers, up in the far north as well. And it was his insistence that we include Te Reo Māori. So we were one of the few programs. I think Ollie Olsen, Keep Cool to After School. He was another one that used Te Reo at that time, but I love the comments that I've had over the years. And look, that's being the presenter, you end up being the spokesperson and the representative for the show. You take full credit for all the wonderful work, but there was a huge machine of people behind it. The writers and directors were all preschool trained, so they knew the language, they knew the questions to ask and the time frame to leave for that child to be able to respond and interact. And it's just a beautifully crafted program. And at its heart was the inclusion of things like te reo to truly reflect being a Kiwi.
Yeah, it was just, it's so fantastic seeing that so early on too in the piece. And it was interesting, last weekend I was down in Christchurch at the New Zealand Childhood Council's annual conference, and there was a speaker there. His name's Anton Matthews, and he speaks about normalising te reo in everyday life. And he said the one dream that he's got is that he could be in somewhere around the world in 20, 30 years, might be in New York, and somebody comes up and says, "Kia ora, Anton, how's it going with the whānau?" And what he's saying is what'd be so great is if people don't learn the whole te reo, if they can actually incorporate a few words in with English, it keeps the te reo going. And that really actually resonated with a lot of people at the conference as well, because we're not all experts at it, but we want to be able to appreciate it and use it when we can.
What a wonderful sentiment here.
Yeah, well, that's terrific. Now, just getting on to music, I love music. Our family loves music. Our children all played instruments and sang. And I think music is really an international language, and it brings a lot of people together. And it's almost as if when music comes on, almost as if a switch is flicked with children, and they can start to bounce around, or they can calming music calm down. How have you found children connect with your music? Perhaps first with preschoolers and in the early primary years.
Well, you look at You and Me. Once again, I can't take credit for any of the songs that we used then. The writers and directors created new songs for each of the episodes. We used traditional songs as well, but they created new songs to help reinforce the messaging in the program of You and Me. And we had some amazing musicians create the melodies and so on to go with these lyrics. But what I love about music for kids is that when you think about it, the first things that they'll hear are often the beat of their mother's heart, or if they're placed on their father's chest, that ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. So when we are rocking a child to sleep, we've got a rhythm going. Our first songs that we often hear are lullabies because we want to get that child to sleep. So the first song, often the things that they'll hear most often and with regularity are songs, those lullabies. Rock-a-bye baby on the treetop. They've got lovely rhythms. They're so repetitive. They actually feel comforting, and there's a sense of belonging and things like that with music. And as you say, they lift you up. They make you want to move. They unify us across all cultures, across all socioeconomic groups. They bring us together, songs and pieces of music. I love the way that the songs that I've written have been able to connect with kids. A few of the songs that I've written more recently have been for older children. And my song that I wrote with Kath B, Sprinkle a Little Sunshine, has been something that has been enjoyed by kids of all ages, even adults, because we all have a blue day. So if we sprinkle a little sunshine over you, it's just a way of having an upbeat song and just a reminder that, things aren't going to go our way all the time. But if we look for the good, if we look for the things that make us happy, if we think of a happy thing, having a hug, reading a good book, things that we really enjoy, our friends, our family, then we can sprinkle some sunshine on our day.
Yeah, that's a lovely sentiment because, I mean, music just uplifts children and uplifts people, actually. Doesn't matter what age, as you said, and with everything, excuse me, with everything that's going on with social media and good and bad, children need to escape from that, and I think music is that wonderful channel.
Oh, definitely. And something like repetition and patterns and things like that can help so much with learning. My most recent song, I Can Do It, and again, another one can be used by adults and kids of all ages. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. It's got that marching beat, and
Yes.
you can belt it out, basically. But again, it's songs like that are great affirmations. They're a great way to learn things as well. So whether we're learning by rote or whatever, you put something. Oh, I taught my kids. We were talking. My husband and I were sitting with our youngest, who would have been, about 18 months, and our eldest, who would have been probably coming up 3, about how incredible kids' brains are and how they're able to learn so easily. And I was explaining to him about songs and things like that. We're just talking in general. And I can picture it now. We're at the back ranch slider, the sun's streaming through. And I said, watch this. It's got some pom-poms. And with my little one, I started doing a little chant that I taught myself in 6th form. What's that year? Now it's year 12. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon. So within a very short space of time, she had learnt that off by heart as a 3-year-old. And we just used the pom-poms, like cheerleading pom-poms, as a way of something physical to add into it. And we jumped around the room. So she's added so many more and done incredibly well with I-beam science a couple of years ago, which is another way of learning other than NCEA. And I'm going to take responsibility for teaching her.
Oh, you did, right back
rhythm as a 3-year-old
in front of the ranch slider.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, well, I mean, we used to learn the timetable, but it didn't have that rhythm to it. But I think it's wonderful that they can connect. I know. We might, or maybe they need to bring that back now. Maybe they bring it back now.
Oh, look out. I think they are.
Yeah, they are too. Suzy, something that sounds really interesting is your new musical Sounds Fun. Can you, I mean, I've seen posts on Facebook and everything else. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, wonderful. Well, look, I've got a regular series, and I've just been advised I've got another whole year basically next year. The Tuning Fork, which is a little venue beside Spark Arena, and is used for lots of community events and, quiz nights and pop-up folk evenings and all kinds of things. They have given me the space once a month to create a kids venue for introducing kids from Auckland to local artists who are creating content for kids. So lots of songs. So we've had music with Michael, Kath B. We've had Anika Moore was our first guest. Amazing.
And it was pretty good to get her. Yes.
Oh yeah. And she has everybody up and dancing. But it's a way for so much content is being created in Aotearoa for our wonderful tamariki, and there's no clear channel for it anymore. Once upon a time, we had 3 TV stations. Well, let's face it, when I was a child, there was only the one. But we had 3 channels, and those 3 channels all had kids' content. Now we find all kinds of content on our screens. The hardest thing to find is a clear space for local content for kids. So to have a venue, they make it a child safe venue and so on. But to have a venue that is providing a regular kids show, showing that kids are important, that they're providing, a quality venue, great staging, great lighting, great sound. And I've got the chance to introduce kids to these wonderful artists from all over Aotearoa. It's just so exciting. One of the things we talked about before, actually pushing record, you
Yes.
wanted to talk about male role models. And what I
Yes.
love is that within New Zealand music for kids, so many male singer-songwriters creating such incredible songs. Like Mr. Roborelli we had up from Dunedin. He's a school teacher. His lyrics are quirky. They are
Yes.
fun. They make you think. Roman sandals, Roman sandals. I mean, who would write a song about Roman sandals?
I
It is
don't.
so
Yeah.
catchy. It's fabulous. If you haven't seen that, his Spotify playlist, then go and check it out. Mr. Roborelli. Who else have we got? We've got Levity Beat. Oh my goodness, you need to go and check that man out. He is incredible. Captain Festus McBoyle, New Zealand's only full-time pirate, professional pirate, and he
Yes.
spends more time in the mirror putting his makeup on than I do, but he puts on this amazing
Yeah.
vaudeville show for kids and families that he's talking about not brushing his teeth and he's going to end up with only gums and all those sorts of things. So fun, quirky, a little bit risque with him, but also educational and talking about families and all those sorts of things. So it's been a real pleasure to do that, and it's something that I hope to do around the country as well, is take these Sounds Fun events, which have an arts and crafts component afterwards, and a chance to build community with mums and dads who turn up every month to see one of these shows, getting to know each other over a cup of tea, all those sorts of things. It's about
We'll,
bringing
we'll
people together, as music is so good at doing.
Yeah, we'll certainly start to push out your sounds funds to all our families through our
Oh,
centres,
fabulous.
and let our other. I mean, we mix with a lot of centres throughout New Zealand because they're all in the education game, and you want to. Doesn't matter where you're located, you want to be able to give the best start for the children. So if we can share information like that, and so I'll make sure that we get your information out there to everybody as well.
Oh,
Susie,
wonderful. Thank you.
you do so much. I mean, excuse me, I was listening on YouTube the other day to your channel, Kids Talk About Books, and I thought that was fabulous, where a child would actually have one of their favorite books and talk about the characters and what the story meant to them and what the impact for them was and what their favorite character was. Is this something that you're going to be continuing and growing?
Well, on my standard YouTube channel, which is Tree Hut TV, I've got over 800 videos. And over, I think around 200 of those are kids talking about books. So we're actually created, as you say, this new channel, Kids Talk About Books, because it's a wonderful way for kids to share their enthusiasm about the book that they've just read. And instead of it being lost in the 800 odd other videos that I've got of me reading
Yep.
stories and, songs and all those sorts of things, we've got a clear channel now that I want to be able to share with libraries and schools so that kids can see their peers on YouTube and see them talking about local authors, local illustrators, books that are going to interest them and excite them and make them laugh. So yes, it is something we're definitely going to continue on with. And I'll start moving some of the older reviews across because those are still so valid. And I've got two new bundles of books going out to schools this week. So expect lots more reviews coming up.
Oh, that's so good. And the other thing, even watching a few of them, is the confidence that the child has in reporting, and they almost feel standing there proud that they report on their favorite book, and that confidence is fantastic.
Well, Alan, what I love is that some of those children, before they get into the situation, most of them have never stood up and given a review before, or certainly have not done it in front of the camera. So, and that's one of the reasons why we've taken the camera in there. I use the audio on my my YouTube channel. I use the audio on my radio show, which airs on 25 radio stations throughout the country, and on my RNZ podcast. So, the audio is shared so far and wide as well. But what I love is these kids are given a safe environment to share their thoughts. And we don't push them too hard. We don't put words into their mouths. We encourage them to have fun, and the results that you see are just incredible.
Yeah. And I think having that safe environment is so important, because we live in a society where children can get knocked around so much with what other people say. But to actually stand up there and present, I think it's just what a quality that you're instilling in the young ones there. So well done on that one.
Well, I think
Uh,
it's just a reflection of what the schools are doing, but it's, I guess, on a wider scale, because the schools are encouraging the kids to stand up. And when you see somebody from your class able to do that, whether it's in your classroom, that's great. But if you see them also on YouTube, it's like, oh wow, I could do that too. It's
yes,
yeah, it's inspirational, isn't it?
it is. Suzy, just look, I've almost finished, because I mean I could just keep talking and talking, and I'm sure that we can actually get another podcast at some later stage, because there's so much to talk about. But one of the other things is your Suzy's Book Corner, which I think is fabulous, where you have local authors and illustrators. Um, where do you stop? You just keep going. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, this is the seat that I sit in for Suzy's Book Corner. And normally I'd be able to reach down and pick up a huge stack of books, but I've just worked my way through a huge stack of books ready to put up on the YouTube channel. So I started that during lockdown. I started reading stories in lockdown. And this huge selection of books behind me are books that have either been reviewed by kids, and kids talk about books, or ones that I've read. But I started in lockdown. It was really interesting, actually, because that very first Friday night, we were sitting upstairs having dinner, and it was like, this is really weird, guys, It's weird for us to think that we're going to be in lockdown, but just imagine all those people. My kids weren't of that party age at that stage. I said, just imagine all those people who would normally be getting their makeup on, getting ready to go into town to dance, all those sorts of things. I said, it's going to be a bit strange for them. I wonder if I should read them a story or something like that. The kids thought it was a great idea. So I settled myself down in my chair, and I read a kid's book. And I think, from memory, I might have read from Peter Millet's Johnny Danger series. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
did a
yeah,
series of late night, starting at 10 o'clock, just when they were heading out, or because I wasn't able to stay up too much later. But I started reading a few chapters of Johnny Danger, and we ended up with hundreds, maybe even 1,000 odd people joining me. And I did it on simultaneously with two phones on Facebook and Instagram at the same time.
oh yes, yeah.
And it went off. So every Friday night, I would do another story reading. And we thought, oh, actually, this is a really good idea. And I always did a junior novel. So it was nice and easy. Oh, I did some more teen ones, but they were all very, very easy, very easy. Not too deep and too meaningful, just lots of fun. And that grew into Suzy's Book Corner. So I focus on primarily Kiwi authors and illustrators,
Yep.
and have shared over 200 books now in that Suzy's Book Corner, encouraging kids to join it. Go and find that book in the library. Come back and read it with me. So, and which a lot of kids do. I haven't actually sent out a newsletter for a wee while, but what I was doing was listing the books that I would have coming up in the next month, and say, go and get these books from the library so you can read along with me.
One last thing, what book would you say that you've written that's your best book?
Oh, crikey. That's
I'm
like
putting you on the
asking who your
spot there.
favorite child is.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you've written.
Actually, I was asked this. I was asked this at a school just recently, because I had my books out on display. Which would be your favorite book? And I said, the next one. Because how
Of
can you
course.
choose one that you've already written? It'll be the next
Yes.
one, I'm sure.
Well, we will make sure that we go through and buy some of your books for our centres, because I love what you do. I love what you talk about. You are certainly an inspiration, and there's so many things happening in the Suzy Cato space. I know parents will be eager for more information. Make sure you visit Suzy's site. It's Suzy, SUZY.co.nz. support sounds for kids. I mean, what a fantastic thing that Suzy's doing there. I'll be sending information out to all our followers, and be sure to tap into the huge range of resources that Suzy has. Suzy, thank you so much for your time. We've learned a lot from you, and you just continue to inspire.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you for giving me the time. And can I just share one thing with all those fabulous whānau out there? The greatest gift you can give your child ever is your time. Your time free of your device. So one-on-one time, and listen as much as you talk. I think that's probably one of the best things that I could suggest. Sing to your child, read to your child, love your child. Your child loves you. See you later. It's time to say goodbye. See you later. I've really got to fly. Goodbye, my friend.
Ka kite. Wow, what a great podcast with Suzy. Isn't she an inspiration? I look forward to welcoming you all to our next podcast, and stay tuned.